Well, hello, loves, and happy Sunday to you. So today, as I was editing my video, I was just going to do a voiceover, and I thought, I'm going to jump on the camera. I'm just at my desk editing, and just kind of walk you through the journal page. Some days I feel great and okay to be on camera, and some days I don't. So it just depends. And I am allowing myself that as I journey through this level of grief. But I thoroughly enjoyed this journal page. It like sung to my heart. I just absolutely loved it. I have been following this thread of watercolor because it was one of the things that Molly loved to do. And I have really fallen in love with it. And one of the things that I want to say too, as I am on this journey of healing, this kind of loss and grief has changed me in a lot of ways. But it has also changed how I think about art, at least for right now, in this season. And I always talk about this. I talk about how we ebb and flow through seasons in our lives. And if we can allow our art to do that too with us, it makes it so much easier to show up to the table, and it makes it more genuine and honest as we create. And so that's what I've been doing in my Molly journal. And I have done several pages, and I'm almost finished with it. I think I have one more page that I'll be doing with you, and then I'll kind of do the reveal, and I'm going to do a cover and stuff like that. And it feels like an incredible journey, and it's a place where I can, lay out all of the things that I'm feeling and what I don't know what to say or how to say things. And it also feels like this little tiny bit of closure. And I hate to say that, because this will be within me, and I'll carry this for the rest of my days. However, this journey of this journal has taught me so much about just letting go and not worrying about the outcome. And as a teacher and as an instructor, and as I share videos with you, usually that's my goal, is to give you something that you can take away and learn and add to your repertoire of art dealings. But through this journal, that hasn't really mattered too much to me. It's just been, I've shared with you what I'm doing to keep myself busy, to keep myself creating, to keep myself from closing in. And showing up in my journal allows me that freedom to just be, and whatever comes. And that's one of the things that I've tried to communicate to you as much as possible over the years, but it's so valuable in times when it's hard. And we can get into the details and the weeds and all the things when we are in that place. And so find the things for your season that work for you creatively. That's one of the things that I wanted to just let you know right away, is find the thing that works for you in the season that you're in, and allow it to do its thing. And but showing up creatively is so incredibly valuable for you. Not for anything else, really. Not I mean, I'm learning a whole lot of new things with watercolor. I have this it's a new love. It'll fade and, that kind of thing. But right now it feels wonderful and easy. And that's what I'm looking for right now. I am feeling some rumblings. I'm having ideas. I'm getting new ideas for the membership and workshops. And so that feels so refreshing. And that only is happening as I just take one little step in a tiny little journal and explore. And so that's what I'm doing with you today. That's what I've been doing with you this whole time. And allowing you to see my journey, I think, helps. I know for me, when I watch someone else go through situations and they share, it helps me understand me better. And so I'm hoping that me sharing, what I'm doing, may help you on your own journey. And it may not be a journey of grief like I am experiencing, but we all have those seasons. It's just not life without them. And we show up, we get up, and we do the things that we need to do. And for me, one of those things is creating. I can't do without it. It is just part of who I am, and it makes my little world a little bit better. So I'm going to share my journal page with you today. But I also want to share with you, I found a book called The Practice of Healing by Chris Barnes. And I'll leave a link along with the supplies and the stencil that I used today in the link below in the YouTube description box. And that'll lead you to the blog with all of the details and extra pictures. But every single page that I have read so far, and it's just these little small snippets of thoughts on a page, basically, from someone who's been through it. And it can work for any kind of hard time. I mean, it just, every single one, it's one of those, like I read it and I go, oh my gosh, and I let it sink in. But this one is for today. Even when life feels heavy, there's still moments that carry beauty. And there was more to this quote, but that's like the summary of this journal, is that life feels heavy, but in that little journal, in this small creative time, I can find some beauty. And I continue to say that the only way through is, and grief is it will never be fully gone, I don't think. But I can surround it with joy. And that's when I read that, I was like, yeah, even when life feels heavy, there's still moments that carry beauty or joy. And I want to create beauty as much as possible. So I want to take you on the journey of my journal today, and we will walk our way through all of the beautiful steps that we take. So I have my Just Flower stencils out here, and I am on the search to try and find a way to stencil and watercolor and layer and do all the mixed media things that I love so much. And I'm just going to explore every opportunity that I can to do that, because I'm enjoying my watercolor so much. And I'm taking some courses on how to do it better and what works and what doesn't. And so once I get through some more things, I'll hopefully be able to share, what I've learned a little bit and, those kinds of things. But for now, I am just taking my regular old watercolor and stenciling through, and I taped it down around the sides so that it would stay flatter. because the flatter the better, because it helps the watercolor kind of stay in place. Plus I'm stenciling on raw paper, and it is a Canson XL mixed media paper, which I have experimented with almost every kind of watercolor paper so far, and I have my favorites. And this one, for the price, does a really great job. It's 140 pound, and I don't normally like to create with that much weight in my paper because I'm going to collage it. However, I am letting go of some of the things that I thought were the rules for me. And I am just going with the flow, and that's what I want to do. So I am going to do all of these flowers, and of course I'm doing them in my favorite colors, and I'm just enjoying the process. With my watercolor, when I find that if I take the paint straight from the pan, I get a thicker, bolder color. If I take the paint and water it out a little bit, I get more of that watercolor, speckly movement in them. So I'm really learning right now on what I like with watercolor and what I don't. And it's easy, and yet there are some things that, to get the look that I want, I have to kind of perfect. I've got new brushes. I'll have a full detail of all of that. When I go down a rabbit hole, I do it fully. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's part of this journey through, too. It's a distraction and it's a connection with Molly. So I'm doing it. I'm not even going to second guess it. I'm just going to go for it. I just want to be able to combine it with everything that I love. And I'm going to figure it out. I will. So I will just I'm going to do all the flowers. And you can see I've got some ink bottles down to help keep my stencil flatter. If I took care of my stencils better, it probably wouldn't have that kind of warping, but I treat them terribly. And that's just who I am. And plus I know where to get more. I just open the drawer and get a new stencil. But doing my favorite colors and just enjoying this process completely. I get lost in the simplicity of watercolor, I think, and maybe that's naive in how I create, but it's slow. It's not a fast process. It's a little slow movement. And I really enjoy it. So once I get all of the flowers painted, I will let them dry. And I actually ended up not doing all of the flowers because I thought I don't really need them all. And then I thought I should have done all the flowers because I could have used them for collage. But I got it dry a little bit. It's still a little bit wet, and I wanted a little bit more variation in the coloring of the flowers, so I just decided to come back and add a few watery blobs of things, and just keeping my brush wet. And letting it just kind of flow and do its thing, which I love. I did the blue flower for Molly. Blue's her color. And I don't typically like blue or blue flowers or blue of any kind, except for now. And I am embracing it. And you'll probably see a whole lot more blue come into my work. But allowing things to influence us and take us in a direction. If I would have just said no, I would never have known. And so keeping an open mind, and part of it was I'll just use this blue for a while. And then I was like, maybe it's something that I can add forever. So I am enjoying my blues, my teals, of course, and my magenta. And I've got a little kind of a dusty rose down at the bottom, and I really love it. So I'm finishing up the flowers and just taking my time, just enjoying the process. I've got these 2 collage papers that are available for you to download in this free subscriber library if you would like to use them for a project. I found them because they were nature related, and Molly's always part of nature and just loves the outdoors and the earth and all of those kinds of things. And so that's why I chose them. Plus, this is a vintage wallpaper, and she loves to create patches and different things with vintage well-used fabrics and recycling and different things like that. So that's why I chose this paper. And then, of course, my postcards, a letter to myself, just putting those down with some fluid matte medium and just kind of around the edges, because I knew I was going to put the flowers out there, but I also wanted to have kind of an area to be able to write in. And these are just little bits and pieces like a patchwork, and that's all meaning for me. And that's the one thing, when we create, we don't have to explain it to anyone. It's all for us, for our own hearts, our own souls, for our own journey. And do the thing that makes you smile, that gives you peace, that gives you the words that you need to say. So once I've got my journal done, I just moved it over. It needs to dry. And I thought, you know what? I didn't do any leaves. And so I'm just going to do simple leaves to put behind my flowers, just a few of them. Love this olive green color that I have found with it's Daniel Smith's watercolor. Her watercolor is the best, and it's probably the most expensive. So I don't have very many of them, but just doing some leaves and enjoying the process. I like to come back through and just add those little bits of darker colors in my watercolor to give them some interest. So I cut them all out and I'm ready to go. I've got a little bit of gesso on my brush here, watered down gesso. I just want to push the background back because I know that I'm going to do some writing. I'm not exactly sure what I was going to write, and I'll probably write more off camera than on camera. Once I get the initial quote down. But watered down gesso and then got that dry. And now I'm using matte gel. Now, if I could water down the back of these, I would, but I don't want to risk disturbing the watercolor. So I'm putting matte gel on my page and matte gel on my flowers. It's thick paper, so it's going to stick up a bit, but more matte gel will keep anything down. It'll stick everything down for the most part. So I just loaded up the matte gel and put everything down. And there were a couple of times, because I'm pushing so hard to get everything down, that I started seeing some of the watercolor lift. And that's really the first time that that's happened to me, mainly because I use fluid matte medium when I'm putting down my things. And I try not to push too hard on to the surface of the watercolor, but it didn't disturb it enough for it to make it, not okay. And I put everything down too, and then came back and kind of pressed it down with a towel, and everything was fine. So now I've got my Stabilo All pencil, and I am using it as my shading. Because the paper's so thick, I can't get in close and with my charcoal pencil. So I just used my Stabilo All pencil, and it worked beautifully. I loved how this looked. It felt so like grungy wall-ish. I love it. So, and it gets in those grooves too, because it's, Stabilo All is water activated. And keep in mind that when you do it, it looks darker at first than when it dries. So you may, sometimes I go back and add an additional layer because it dries lighter. But even if I did it too dark, I could go back and just kind of wet it and wipe some away. It's super easy to use and very, very versatile. And it also lends itself to the watercolor feel because it's, water soluble. But I'm going to go around everything, and I'm even going a little heavy on the edges too. Sometimes I'll even wet my brush and then wet the end of the pencil to get the black on my brush so that I don't have to necessarily draw it on. That's a different way that you can do it. But this was such a simple, easy page. I mean, I spent the most of my time on my watercolor. I put the paper down, I put the gesso down, and then cut out the flowers, and then look at how beautiful. So I've got my Graby acrylic marker in black, and I'm writing out the quote, "Even when life feels heavy, there are still moments that carry beauty." And I feel like I need that on my wall somewhere. I can see it every day. And the other thing too that I'm working on is getting comfortable with my own writing. I never really think it looks great, but especially in this journal, because it's such a story of, my journey, I want more and more of it to be in my own writing, and getting comfortable with that is, I look at it and I'm like, oh, I could do it better, but it doesn't really matter, right? It's only for me. So I added the quote, and I'm just adding touches of small marks around my flowers in black to give it just a little bit of character. And I'm not doing full straight lines either. I'm doing, kind of broken lines so that it doesn't feel like I could overwhelm this really fast with black. So I'm going to finish up my line work here, and I'm going to shade the edges of my journal as I always do. It is the finishing touch. And I hope you enjoyed this simple, easy project, and I hope that you are finding your own ease in your creativity. And I hope that you find whatever you need to do in the season that you're in. And I hope that you always, always know that you are loved.